You're watching NMH at 1, the show that keeps you up to speed with the latest in economic news, international news, sports, and community stories. Now let's get into what you can expect in today's broadcast. Namibia urgently needs 400 million Namibian dollars for the drought relief program. Kanyama gets his way with a 1.3 billion Namibian dollar pharma tender and over 130 dead at Fasher hospital amid escalating conflict in Darfur. Follow all our programs on 102.com or DSTV channel 285 and GoTV channel 25 in Namibia. Stick around, midday news update coming right up. The government spokesperson, Honorable Emma Theophilus, has announced that the 28th of May will be Genocide Remembrance Day for the 1904-1908 Nama and Ovaherero genocide committed by Imperial Germany. It will be considered a public holiday effective from 2025. She said this at the Nama and Ovaherero Genocide Memorial Day program taking place at the Memorial Museum in the Central Business District of Windhoek. Stick around, we get into our visual news right after this break.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
In today's visual news clip, Juliet Olivier, Acting Business Development Manager and Quality Assurance, delivered a briefing this morning to attendees at the Namibian Tourism Board's customer training for frontline tourism service providers. Let's have a look.
We are happy with the participants that we have for this first training session. Now, I just want to give you some little feedback on why we do this. We have started with this customer service training. Namibia Tourism Board has 4 key mandates. We market the destination, Namibia, internationally as a tourist destination. We regulate the tourism sector. We do routine inspections. We see that all businesses are registered with us. We do the quality assurance of the tourism sector, and then we do the human resource development of the sector. And this is where we develop our SMEs, our people, the frontline employees that meets with the tourists. And this is where this training comes in, okay? So NTV, in collaboration with NAS, developed this course for our frontline employees. We've seen there's a lot of cruise ships docking in at the Landport Harbour, and we've seen there's a need for customers.
People owe it to me to serve me as a client. When you go to the hospital, for example, the person will just walk past you as if you're not there. But under forgetting that as because we are within a service industry, we are there to serve, irrespective who the client is or irrespective of where you work. Are we together?
Yes.
Because there's been a lot of debate, I think, within the nursing sector where there's so many complaints coming from the different hospitals and so on. But you'll be surprised, all these people that are working there come from the same training institution. But when they are moved to either private hospital, the service that you get is totally different from what you get in terms of a public institution. So again, how do we develop a culture of customer service within the tourism sector? The provision of assistance and support to customers, before, during, and after they've used your service in a nutshell. Are we together? Yes. How do we serve our clients? It's basically what it means. That's the definition of customer service.
Now, aggrieved residents of Rundu's Ndama communities are demanding the restoration of their running water within 7 days from the Rundu Town Council, or a protest will be staged on the 4th of June. Residents of Ndama's Sun City and Long communities have been without water since September last year. The residents at a press conference yesterday in Rundu said the prolonged disruption has forced them to resort to cutting municipal pipes to access water. Some claim that they travel long distances to fetch water, and this has exposed them to various dangers, especially at night when they're more vulnerable to encounters with thieves. The group spokesperson David Nakaro shares more.
Been facing challenges of water shortage since September 2023. Our communities last seen water on the taps on September till to date. Several attempts to engage the council have not been fruitful. The management have refused to sit on the table with the committee responsible or even coming on the ground in the communities to engage the people. However, the council have imposed a strategy to engage their selected people for publicity purposes. On this matter, sideline affected people and their representatives. We are aware that the water crisis in Rundu, particularly in these locations, is not only caused by technical reasons. It's not only caused by technical reasons, but it's also caused by political reasons. Now, what are the political reasons? This is what's happening. Down. We are more concerned about the hygiene and sanitary issues of the people. We have old and sick people and also school-going children.
Stay with us after the break. The Namibian Sun newspaper leads us into our newspaper review segment.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraika. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
Thank you for staying with NMH at 1. We now take a look at what the lead stories are in Namibia's daily newspapers, starting us off on the Namibian Sun front page. Namibia needs over 400 million Namibian dollars to supplement the 825 million Namibian dollar allocated for its drought relief program ahead of declaring a state of emergency. Ibn Nashandi, executive director of the Office of the Prime Minister, confirmed this, noting the severe impact on the agriculture sector. He emphasized the country's urgent need for food and supplies and the obligation to declare a state of emergency following the SADC's $5.5 billion regional humanitarian appeal for El Niño-induced drought and flood relief. On the paper's page 3, currently there are 2,149 grade 1 learners at government primary schools in Walvis Bay which face annual challenges in placing new learners due to overcrowding. As next year's enrollment begins next week, a meeting will be held at Emmanuel Reita's primary school in Kiesepmund at 5:30 p.m. today. Walvis Bay Circuit Education Inspector Teresia Joajoses explained that the meeting will outline enrollment procedures and provide a platform for parents to suggest improvements. Now on to the Republicans' front page. Following the announcement that the government has set aside more than 125 million Namibian dollars to pay allowances to interns, some have considered it a political gimmick. The payout is intended to curb the rising unemployment rate in the country. Nangula Wanja, chief executive of the Namibia Investment Promotion and Development Board, confirmed this by saying it is to engage the private sector and encourage internship opportunities for school leavers and graduates. This means that the company that offers such an opportunity does not have to pay the intern, as the government will cover the costs. The paper's page 3 reports that Amushalelo, along with many of his supporters or members of the Namibia Economic Freedom Fighters (NEFF), are prohibited from entering or exiting Namib Mills premises nationwide to obstruct operations in any way. The interdict also prevents any unlawful demonstrations, harassment, or intimidation of Namib Mills' employees, customers, service providers, or visitors. Now, according to the Allgemeine Zeitung's front page, the Ellen Primary School in Commersdal celebrated a significant milestone yesterday with the official handover of a new soup kitchen generously funded by the German donors Intercultural Relations (EV) and the charitable organization One Heart for Children. At the inauguration ceremony, Deputy Minister of Education Faustina Cayley highlighted the joint efforts that made the project a reality despite the challenges caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. On the paper's page 3, according to the Minister of Mines and Energy, Toma Wendo, an immediate shift away from fossil fuels like coal, natural gas and petroleum is not advisable. He emphasized this point during a discussion organized by the Namibia Energy Association, highlighting the crucial role these minerals play in the global energy transition. Wendo discussed the production challenges faced by African countries and advocated for a balanced approach that takes the continent's socio-economic conditions into account. On the other hand, the Minister of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform, Karl Schlittwein, has a different perspective. He prioritizes clean fuels such as biogas over fossil fuels and nuclear energy, which he deems dirty. Stick around, we continue with the second half of our newspaper review segment after the break, taking a look at what's highlighting the Namibian newspaper's front page.
Welcome to Namibia, where adventure meets tranquility. With Enjoy, you have access to a wide range of accommodations to suit every traveler's taste and budget. Experience the finest dining and hospitality Namibia has to offer. Booking your dream accommodation is just a few clicks away with Enjoy. Join thousands of happy travelers who have trusted Enjoy for their Namibian getaway. Your gateway to unforgettable Namibian adventures. Visit us today at enjoy.my.na.
Moving along with our newspaper review segment, a Namibian High Court judge has set aside the Central Procurement Board of Namibia's choice of the company Cosfam Investments to supply pharmaceutical products to the Ministry of Health and Social Services at a cost of about 1.3 billion Namibian dollars. This was a victory for businessman Kanyama since he filed a review application to have the tender award set aside. Judge Shafimana Utele reviewed and set aside the CPBN's decision after it selected Cosfam Investments in August last year to supply pharmaceutical products to the Health Ministry in a judgment delivered in the Windhoek High Court on Friday. On page 3, a Windhoek High Court judge has ordered social activist Michael Amushalelo to pay Namib Mills' legal costs in a case about threats to shut the food-producing company down made by Amushalelo. In a judgment delivered yesterday, Judge Haneli Prinsloo said Amushalelo made inflammatory statements against Namib Mills on social media and his threats can potentially incite criminal acts. Now moving over to the new era, President Nangolo Mbumba has declared a state of emergency on the 22nd of May as the country grapples with high levels of drought and food insecurity, with over 300,000 households already registered to receive drought relief. Last week, Executive Director in the Office of the Prime Minister Ibn Nashandi said the government had budgeted 825 million Namibian dollars for the program. New Era Page 3 reports that Deputy Governor of the Bank of Namibia, Leonie Dunn, has emphasized the importance of accuracy in journalistic activities, particularly in the field of economic reporting. During recent training for journalists on economic reporting in Windhoek, she emphasized the critical juncture at which modern media finds itself, typified by an unparalleled influx of information. And now, according to Market Watch, oil and gas lawyer Shakwa Nyambe has called for the establishment of an oil and gas regulator, arguing that the Ministry of Mines should no longer bear that responsibility. Nyambe made these comments following a recent oil and gas seminar in London, Britain. The establishment of an independent upstream oil and gas regulator would greatly benefit the country, as it would ensure impartiality and transparency in decision-making processes, thereby reducing the potential for conflicts of interest or direct political interference, he said. Now, staying with economic news, Zimbabwe's telecom regulator has approved the licensing of Elon Musk's Starlink, allowing the satellite unit of SpaceX to operate in the southern African country. We'll delve into the full details of the story after the break as we head into economic news.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouth-watering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
And now getting into our economic news, as briefly highlighted earlier, Zimbabwe's telecom regulator has approved the licensing of Elon Musk's Starlink, allowing the satellite unit of SpaceX to operate in the southern African country, President Emmerson Mnangagwa said on Saturday. The decision is expected to result in the deployment of high-speed, low-cost LEO, low Earth orbit internet infrastructure throughout Zimbabwe, particularly in all areas, Mnangagwa said in a statement. He added that Starlink will provide services through its sole and exclusive local partner, IMC Communications. A 2021 World Bank report noted that only 34.8% of Zimbabwe's population had access to the internet. The country's internet service is dominated by 3 major mobile network operators. The Starlink approval comes amid a government crackdown on unregistered users smuggling Starlink kits from neighboring countries such as Zambia. We'll now take a look at the economic indicators just before we get into our African news. The Namibian dollar trades at 23.46 to the British pound, 20.01 to the euro, 18.39 against the US dollar, and 2 Namibian dollars and 54 cents by 1 Chinese yuan. Letego Holdings Namibia Limited stocks and Namibia Breweries Limited stocks took upturns of 2.50 and 0.03% respectively, while First Rand Namibia Limited stocks took a dip of 0.50% and the rest maintained. All commodities are down save for Brent crude oil, which took an upturn of 0.29%, now trading at $83.45 per barrel. Local index closed on an upturn of 0.12%, while overall index closed on a downturn of 0.05%. Now, with the toll surpassing 130 fatalities that have mounted at a lone hospital within El Fasher, Sudan, and this is according to Médecins Sans Frontières. We'll get into the full details as we head into African news after the break.
E-Ticket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there. For more information, contact events@nmh.com.na.
We now expand beyond Namibia's borders to give you the latest news from the African continent here on NMH at 1. With a toll surpassing 130, fatalities have mounted at a lone hospital within El Fasher, Sudan, according to Médecins Sans Frontières, also known as Doctors Without Borders. The city, situated in Darfur, finds itself engulfed in intensified conflict between rival factions amid Sudan's enduring civil war. Describing the situation as terrible, a resident recounted to the BBC the harrowing reality of violent artillery shelling impacting not only hospitals but also markets. El Fasher stands as Darfur's final major urban stronghold under the dominion of Sudan's armed forces, which have engaged in a protracted battle with the paramilitary rapid support forces, leading to the loss of thousands of lives and the displacement of millions. Despite the army's continued control over El Fasher, the city has evolved into a haven for those displaced by conflict elsewhere. However, recent events have ushered in a new wave of brutality, epitomized by the rapid support forces intensified assault on the city on May 10th, prompting UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres to label it an alarming new chapter in Sudan's conflict narrative. Médecins Sans Frontières reports a significant strain on one of its hospitals, South Hospital, struggling to accommodate the influx of casualties. Over a span of just over 2 weeks, the facility treated a staggering 979 individuals, with 134 succumbing to their injuries, a grim testament to the ferocity of the ongoing clashes. Alarmingly, medical supplies are rapidly depleting, prompting concerns that stocks may barely last a week, according to UN assessments. Now, an Egyptian court sentenced former presidential candidate, Ahmed Tantawi, on Monday to 1 year in prison with labor on charges of forging election documents and barred him from standing in elections for the next 5 years, his lawyer Khalid Ali said. Tantawi was the most prominent politician to challenge President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi as he sought a third term last year. Tantawi halted his campaign, saying state-linked groups had impeded him from gathering the required number of public endorsements to register as a candidate, and that dozens of his family members and allies had been arrested. The offer remained conditional on London-listed Authorities denied foul play and charged him with violations linked to his campaign's move to distribute their own copies of endorsement forms. Tantawi was found guilty of the charges in a lower court in February and given a suspended sentence that was upheld on Monday. He was detained in court and transferred to a correctional facility, joining more than 20 members of his campaign who were also sentenced to the case, Ali said. He was also ordered to pay a fine of 20,000 Egyptian pounds, which is $424, and barred from running in local, parliamentary or presidential elections for 5 years. We'll now take a quick ad break and take a look at what's headlining the rest of the globe after the break.
Are you tired of just hanging around at home while waiting for something to do? Check out eticket.diary.my.na for what's hot on the social scene across the country. Or if you're arranging an event you'd like us to feature, contact Jareen at we.com.na. We can sell your tickets too.
We are all seeking connection to each other, to the world, to the spaces we exist in.
Poor sportsmanship right now from the lads. 1.85 for the national record. Here's another chance, and it is a goal from Vindo Kahan.
Sy sê wie hy is aan neertrek en daai bal het my grond gevat. Ja, hy het grond gevat en as hy
running that mountain up. Okay, so we will be doing this. More advanced, slightly advanced.
So is jou trolley reg? Want
I love it. I love it. So then
kickstart our countdown at number 5 with this one. Op Netwerk TV se Klets Kompas gesels ons nuus van 'n Maandag tot Donderdag. Ons kyk ook na die weer en meer. Stories wat jou raak en stories wat saak maak.
They've made a mistake in denying me bail, and they've made several other mistakes in many other cases.
The channels that teach us something new or reflect our expression. So it goes beyond switching to the right station. It's about choosing the experience that can adorn the present, dressing it with our tastes as we expand our preferences, because what we are actually connecting to is boundless, limitless human energy. And this is the spirit of NTV.
We now expand beyond Namibia's borders to give you the latest news from the rest of the world here on NMH at 1. With a toll surpassing 130, fatalities have mounted. My apologies. Getting into international news. Torrential rain brought by Cyclone Ramal caused a collapse in a stone quarry in India's remote northeastern state of Mizoram, killing at least 10 people, while harsh weather hampers efforts to rescue those trapped, authorities said on Tuesday, according to Reuters. Weather authorities said the powerful cyclone had weakened into a depression after devastating regional coastlines the previous day, killing at least 16 and cutting power to millions in parts of eastern India and neighboring Bangladesh. Bitter weather was holding up rescue efforts in Mathum, the site of the quarry outside the state capital of Aizawl, a state disaster management official said. There have been incessant rains in the wake of Cyclone Rumal, which led to the quarry collapse, the official told Reuters, speaking on condition of anonymity. There were no immediate details of the number trapped. The heavy rain in Mizoram, which borders Bangladesh, also unleashed landslides in the region. Authorities in India's eastern state of West Bengal were working to restore electricity lines in the worst affected areas after Rumal stripped power lines and uprooted trees. In our next story, North Korea's latest satellite launch exploded a fireball before dropping into the Yellow Sea just minutes after lifting off, but analysts say the attempt showcased new strides in the nuclear-armed country's race for space. North Korea said its latest attempt to launch a military reconnaissance satellite failed in flight on Monday during the rocket's first stage, which featured a new liquid oxygen and petroleum engine. An initial analysis suggested that the cause of the failure involved the newly developed liquid fuel rocket motor, but other possible causes were being investigated, a report carried by state media KCNA said. Although state media did not name the rocket or release photos, analysts said it was most likely different from the Challenger-1 rocket used in a successful satellite launch in November 2023. The Challenger-1, which also suffered several explosive test failures, uses hypergolic fuels, substances that can be stored at room temperature but ignite on contact with each other, requiring careful handling. A petroleum fuel and liquid oxygen engine may suggest that Russia, which vowed last year to help North Korea's satellite program, may have provided assistance, said Lee Chun-gun, an honorary research fellow at South Korea Science and Technology Policy Institute. After the break, we bring you local and international sports news. Stay tuned. Getting into our local sports news, Namibia's Fasher celebrated a second UCI Marathon World Cup gold medal on Sunday at Novo Mesto na Morave in Czech Republic. A compatriot, Alex Miller, achieved a silver medal in his debut race at a UCI Marathon World Cup, an astonishing result for the small but strong Namibian contingent. 13-year-old Namibian tennis prodigy Israel Dowie excelled by advancing to the final of the ITF J30 Bulawayo tournament in Zimbabwe last weekend in his first year eligible to compete at the International Tennis Federation's Under-18 World Tennis Tour Juniors level. And two clubs that had a dominating Dip Marine Namibia Premiership season will clash in a mouth-watering semi-final of the TST Bet NFA Cup. Commerce Nampol, third in their NPFL debut season, and African Stars, consecutive NPFL champions, both progressed to the semi-final of the prestigious knockout competition after surviving the quarter-final weekend at the Oshakati Independence Stadium. Right after this, we get into our international sports news. We start with some tennis news. Rafael Nadal's record-breaking French Open career came to its likely end on Monday when the 14-time champion slumped to a demoralizing first-round defeat against Alexander Zverev before he admitted, "I really hope to see you again, but I don't know." In our next story, Chelsea are holding talks to make Leicester's Enzo Maresca their new head coach, according to British media reports. And world number one Novak Djokovic will be the main attraction at Roland Garros on Tuesday when he begins his French Open title defense against Pierre Herbert. But after last year's domination, this year brings less expectation. If you're just joining us, this is NMH at 1, and we'll get into today's highlights right after this.
Welcome to Namibia, where adventure meets tranquility. With Enjoy, you have access to a wide range of accommodations to suit every traveler's taste and budget. Experience the finest dining and hospitality Namibia has to offer. Booking your dream accommodation is just a few clicks away with Enjoy. Join thousands of happy travelers who have trusted Enjoy for their Namibian getaway. Your gateway to unforgettable Namibian adventures. Visit us today at enjoy.my.na.
You're still with NMH at 1. For those of you that are just joining us or those that need a quick recap, here are the news highlights. With a toll surpassing 130, fatalities have mounted at a lone hospital within El Fasher, Sudan, according to Doctors Without Borders. Torrential rain brought by Cyclone Ramal caused a collapse in a stone quarry in India's remote northeastern state of Mizoram, killing at least 10 people while harsh weather hampers efforts to rescue those trapped, authorities said on Tuesday, and this is according to Reuters. Those have been your highlights, and this has been NMH at 1. I am Diana Master. Until tomorrow, have a lovely day.